Quantum jumping. What is this nonsense? So, we are going to do something lovely on our ceremonial cacao day together. And I just want to do a quick explanation of it. We will do more on the call, but it's so that you are slightly prepared for what we will do. And we will, I'm sure, talk about it a little bit in the forum as well. So make sure to check in there. So the term quantum jumping was developed by Keith, the cacao shaman, and the people who frequent his porch in Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, in San Marcos. And Keith was told at one point that he had a sojourn where he was working a little bit with the Mayan people, but his own relationship with the cacao has been what he's popularized for. And in some ways, there are a lot of differences between our cultures and indigenous cultures. So it's actually, there are a lot of people at the moment who would love to find more indigenous wisdom on cacao, and they find it very hard to find. And it could be because our way of looking is different, or because it's not time, or maybe it's just not there. So, or people are deciding to hide it, whatever. Anyway, what Keith was told at one point was that people from Mayan tribes were drinking large ceremonial doses of cacao in caves and going into the astral to solve tribal disputes, because the cacao was enabling them to be more in the heart and rather in the conflict, and less um, in the you did this, he did that, blah blah blah, and more into how we solve this, and actually taking themselves out of the the physical realm and the personal realm. And actually this can be one of the best places to solve things. Is sometimes we need to send love to something, sometimes we need to get ourselves out of the way, and often if we work on the psychic energy that has been created with things, we can actually create a great clearing that creates a reconciliation. So that's one of these amazing capacities of cacao that would take a long time to write in a manual. And quantum jumping is connected to that, this propensity and capacity for cacao to help us to access other gateways where we can go into these places where emotions and things are stored, and to start to work with I call it source consciousness, with the sort of database of things. And you will know that we have people talk about timelines, and I think we all know that we have the possibility often, you sometimes think, goodness, if I'd done something differently, I might have entered a different life entirely. And a lot of people will say that we'll always get to where we're supposed to anyway in this lifetime, but sometimes there are different paths we can take. When we work collectively, I work with tribes who are known to people. White people call it the dream time, but the rough way of looking at it would be what Carl Jung had called the collective unconscious, or the collective consciousness. And there's quite a lot that happens when we work in the group mind. If you can imagine that collectively we come to draw a picture that we all like, that's not dominated by the monkey mind, but it's all actually dominated by the heart, there's something profound that happens with consciousness and the space-time continuum that means that things happen. And this is actually a warm-up, because this is what we are actually doing at this moment. But this is why it's really important to realize why, if we all opt into a really negative picture, we'll create that. And that's part of the reason for this course is, let's make a nice dreaming. Let's look at what we can make for ourselves and our communities and bring in the highest timeline. Come on, guys. Does that not make more sense? So quantum jumping is roughly about us getting together and sitting from the heart space with each other, painting pictures. Sometimes we have to clear a little bit of abrasion and stuff, that's debris that doesn't need to be there. But this is unlike some of the quantum work I do, which is a lot about transmuting and clearing. the thing is, you've done a lot of your transmuting and clearing, you've been identifying, you've been busting patterns. This is where the fun comes in, where we get the eagle-eye vision, which is looking for the benefit of all the community, and we paint the picture for each other. And I tell you, some of the things that have happened when we've done these sessions is and you know, people think, oh, I'm not psychic, you know, and I'm not doing this. And then they start to say stuff and it's like everybody can feel it. And somebody will say, oh yeah, that's what I was feeling. And then these things happen. And we're going into the realm where prayer really sits, where we're slowing the mind down. And people have proven that prayer and meditation are very powerful. But people have also proven that when we go into these theta states, that it's even more powerful at manifesting the positive. If you look at Viana from Theta Healing, she writes a lot about this. So yeah, so we're going to do that. And again, I'm really glad I didn't have to explain that in the manual. And that's why we really want you all to come. Now, we might not get to paint the picture for everybody, but each of us who helps each other, it creates something. It creates a confidence. It also helps. There's something beautiful about when people see you and see a higher picture. It helps us to actually set our sights to bringing in something more positive. So I find it's a very win-win sort of situation when we do this. And it's certainly one of the highlights of this plant diet for me, to do this when you've been doing your clearing, to then come and have this fun session together. So we hope you can all show up, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Ciao, ciao.